will the 49ers keep Jimmy Garoppolo? Adam Schefter report. I wouldn't say it was so much a report as Adam Schefter was more speculating, because it was proposed to him like this. He was asked on a podcast over at PFF, what he thinks the 49ers will get for Jimmy Garoppolo in terms of value. How much can they get? Will be a first-round pick potentially. And Schefter was quick to stop him and say, no, look, while that certainly is a strong possibility, it's not a lock that the 49ers are going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. And in fact, he was talking about a lot how, people think Trey Lance is green. They think he's inexperienced. But to me, Jose, when I was listening to that clip, the one thing I really honed in on was the fact that he talked about that third-round compensatory pick that the 49ers could receive next offseason if they were to just let Jimmy Garoppolo stay on the team, and then he would enter free agency and sign with another team. Because when you really think about it, if they're talking about getting a third-round pick now or third-round pick next year, in terms of value, it's not much of a difference, right? But the issue is a little more complicated than that, obviously. The 49ers invested 3 first-round picks into their backup quarterback this past season, a guy who they've been saying they've been preparing like Alex Smith prepared Patrick Mahomes his first season. So, Jose, what do you make of this report? And do you actually believe, is there any belief in your heart of hearts that Jimmy Garoppolo, there's any chance he might be on the team next year?
Hell to the no. And that's 2 shows in a row where that's the first 3 words I have said when I was on Sunil's shows last week. And that time was talking about Brady. I said there's more of a chance the 49ers actually get Brady than they do actually keep Jimmy Garoppolo. And they're both very, very low. Like, I can't even see them as feasible situations, scenarios, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a scenario where Adam Schefter is being fed information from John Lynch or someone in that organization, because that's just always what it is right now. And that's what's pretty much what the 49ers and teams around the league are going to manipulate Schefter, Ian Rappaport, and all these media sources to put their message out there without actually speaking to us local media people. And that's how you saw a couple weeks ago when Peter King all of a sudden came out raving about Trey Lance, when who else? Jay Glazer, and then Matt Mayoko joined in on the fray. And those pretty much are the top 3 closest to the organization, to Kyle Shanahan specifically. So they're all feeding in. The 49ers just play smoke signals through the media. The media is the smoke, while the 49ers are sending them out. So I see no way in hell that that's going to happen to keep Jimmy Garoppolo. And sure, Schefter talks about a compensatory pick next year. That's great. Where do you have the salary cap to keep Garoppolo right now? Please explain to me, because there are cap. The whole idea was to let go of Garoppolo was so you can alleviate that and bring in maybe a couple outside pieces who can make you a little more proficient in some gray areas around the team, and then extending Deebo Samuel and maybe potentially even Nick Bosa if that's even on the table. So to me, this is just ludicrous. It's just off-season talk, and it's just, I don't know. I have no idea what the other goal is. If Schefter's not being told this by someone in the 49ers, then my God, this is just pretty much just trying to continue the news cycle of just talking.
Well, and the funny thing is when Schefter was talking about Garoppolo in this situation, he just lightly mentioned he's on a modest $25 million contract. Like that's modest in today's NFL market. I mean, this past season, Garoppolo was the 5th highest cap hit in the NFL. He was at a 13.5% cap rate. That would be higher than any other player in NFL history for a Super Bowl winning team for a single player. And I think the financial reality of the 49ers is, if they want to even keep the current team they have, Jimmy Garoppolo cannot be on this roster. And that's the main reason why I think they're making this move. I think that's the way they justified it to the team, saying, hey, look, Trey Lance is Garoppolo is 5 times the cost of Trey Lance next season. And really, when you think about the logistics of what they've been doing, of how they've gone about all of this, they trade all these first-round picks for Lance with the idea that, hey, we want this Patrick Mahomes experience. Well, in order to have that Patrick Mahomes experience, you need to actually play the guy you drafted, not just let him sit on the bench. It's so funny, Jose. People will, in the past at least, or recently, they'll compare it to Aaron Rodgers' situation. I'm sorry, but Jimmy Garoppolo is not a Hall of Famer. He's not a Super Bowl winner. He's not even Joe freaking Flacco. So when we're really talking about what's going on here, like you said, I think it's smoke signals. And well, specifically how he mentioned the compensatory third-round pick, it seems like the 49ers are trying to raise the value of Garoppolo by saying we'd rather just hang on to him and get that third-round pick than take a third-round pick. Like, that just doesn't make sense. It really seems like the team is trying to squeeze every ounce that they can out of this Jimmy Garoppolo trade.
Which I think is funny because I know it's not doing anything for other teams. They don't care. They're gonna call you out. They're gonna be like, you know the game BS and the cards that you play in school. Maybe some people play it now. That's pretty much what the 49ers are trying to do, but except it's like before they're even getting their sentence out, whoever team's considering a quarterback is immediately calling them out on their BS because, like, what are you doing now? I mean, I know it's like Niners kind of have to do something like that. Just tell Schefter, like, hey, let's just keep pushing it out there. And if they're pushing it out there, that must mean that they already have a grasp of what Jimmy Garoppolo is going to cost. And they're probably like, ooh, we're not going to get that first that we so covet or even a second, because I'm pretty sure they will settle for no more than a second because they want to recoup what they got Jimmy Garoppolo in the first place. But they're not going to get that first. Who are they going to get it from? The Steelers? I mean, the Steelers aren't that desperate. I mean, I can see the Steelers, they'd be more inclined to tap the Raiders on the shoulder. Hey, what's up with Derek Carr? You know, a guy who can actually move, because people say that, you know, the Steelers would work well for Jimmy Garoppolo. Running game, defense, you know, just culture, whatever, and most ready. Like, yeah, sure. And they mentioned that, hey, and they you know, the offense, they don't really go deep. But did they go deep because they didn't want to, or they went deep because their quarterback couldn't do it? The same. It was kind of funny how Niners proponents are saying that about him when they realize, why do we have Trey? I mean, why do the 49ers have Trey Lance in the first place? Because they want to go deep more, not just because of the mobility, which we'll get to later, but it's like, it's not that Kyle Shanahan, that's the offense he wants. It's the offense that he needs, because that's all he has to do. So I think that's a little naive to say in that standpoint. But nevertheless, I just think it's like in week 17 when they tried, was it week 17? When they tried playing against the Texans, and Shanahan throughout that week was saying, we don't know who the starter is. It might be holding out hope for Jimmy. Like, he did that on purpose as a routine just to burn the Texans practice time. And at that point, if his logic is, as long as we can get like even just 10 to 20 minutes a day wasting their practice time, because look, these guys only have like 2 hours or less to install practice. So it kind of feels like the same thing for me. It just kind of seems pointless, and I'm just seeing like, oh, here we go. It's just more. Jimmy's Garoppolo's more likely to get cut than traded, because at that point, then they can just say like, hey, we gave him the freedom of choice, like what they did with Navarro Bowman when they first got here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think that's the point I've been coming back to is ultimately, like, they would rather cut him than just get like a 5th round pick for him. I mean, maybe I don't really know what they want to do here.
I think we would do that because then they will want to, like, maybe not. They would save face on both sides. And so one thing I know for sure the Niners are going to do, especially since they drafted Trey Lance, is they did like Jimmy. They just didn't like, you know, his performance, his limitations, his woes. So they really like him, the player. I mean, the person especially. So I believe they're going to really try to do what's best for him and for themselves. And so, like you said, if it is like, say, like Commanders, hey, 5th round pick or someone, they're like, are they really going to settle for that? Like, damn, we're going to trade. The Niners are going to make, how are we going to look? How's Jimmy Garoppolo going to look? You know, they're going to make each other look bad. So I think they would probably just be like, and then just play the PR note, like, hey, we're doing our best to give our player the most freedom of choice here or whatever. And so that's the respect.
They're such a player-friendly team.
Make them look good.
Yeah, they're such a player-friendly team. This is a family atmosphere. They're trying to do the best for all their players. There totally no insincerities going on. No, I mean, look, with the Garoppolo thing, I think we all know where this is headed. At some point between now and the start of free agency or the very beginning of it, he's not going to be on this roster any longer. And if it stretches further into even further and further along, then the 49ers are making a mistake, because I think when you set aside his play and the injuries and everything that we've discussed about why the 49ers don't want Jimmy Garoppolo any longer, it's financially unfeasible to keep him on this team unless you want to be worse next year. And I don't think the 49ers want to do that. So
yeah, it's just not possible. It's just talk.
And you know what? That's just what this time of the year is for, isn't it? It's these rumors. It's, you know, no one's gotten traded yet. And to me, Jose, and we can end this topic on this and move on after, is I think more than anything, like you said, they've really probably have an idea of where his value is. They know what teams are offering. And they're at this point, they're putting out all the smoke screens. They're using the media any way they can. And even though it may not work, they're going to keep this up until the last minute because I don't think they're satisfied with any of the offers they've gotten so far.
Yeah, for sure.